Oh my god, some people are just so dumb. They're spamming the stupid stream chat with completely unrelated stuff to this gameplay stream, thinking that I'm gonna derail the whole fucking stream right now. No! Stop wasting fucking time. I'll tell you right now, stop talking about that stupid subject. You're wasting everybody's time. Stop right the fuck now. Okay. Good God. Yeah, I'm gonna just stop playing a game that I'm entertaining hundreds of people on the internet and people watching on YouTube to look into an unrelated issue that has nothing to fucking do with the stream. What the fuck? God, man.
Boy, just another day of the funnies, right? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News Second Edition. I'm your host. Let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with a new addition to the channel, or a new content creator, I should say, that I haven't actually done a video on before, or a video from them, I should say. This video is brought to us by DarkSydeFrancis. DSP tries it. You're an idiot if you think I haven't changed. This is from February 13th of 2016. Should be a good video. DarkSydeFrancis, I think, has done a couple of videos on DSP, at least back in the day. As I said, the trend over the next couple of videos are going to be going over content creators that maybe are lesser known, or maybe you haven't heard of, or whatever the case may be. I will leave the link to the video down in the description, as I always do. Hopefully you'll check it out. And check the comment section. Who knows who's down there, and let alone that. It'd be interesting to see what they had to say, because this is a much older video. It's almost 4 years. So, or it is over 4 years, sorry. So it's something to look at. It's like a nice little time capsule, if you will. I don't have any PSAs except for, well, that's a lie. I do have a PSA, because obviously I'm about to say it now. So there should be a channel update video coming out on the channel soon. So look out for that. For any of you who are coming from the main channel, my apologies. There are some difficulties, and I'll kind of leave it at that for now. I'm hoping to get it worked out and whatnot, and so at least I said that there'd be 4 videos before hiatus happens. It might only be like 2. It'll be the 341 call, because a lot of people have been waiting on it, and I feel bad for keeping people waiting. It was out of our hands, and the channel update video for that, and that's it. With that being said, a third channel that we have that I forgot all about is being prepped, and I'm going to kind of go back to basics on that. You'll find me when you find me over there. Actually, I'll probably promote it here, maybe. We'll see. If you find me, you find me. And so on and so forth. But I'll tell you more about that as we get closer. So that's a thing. My apologies yet again. And big ups to Ghostly Wins for basically for the PR help. You know what I mean? Because I know there's a lot of people waiting for that video to come out. My apologies yet again, and thank you to Ghostly Wins for always having our back. Last thing is our friend Paul W. You guys all know Paul. The link to his book is down in the description. DSP and the Quest for the Golden Boar. You can find, like I said, the Amazon link for it down in the description. Thank you to everybody who's already purchased it, or who actually liked it or gave a little bit of feedback on it. It's very much appreciated. And I know Paul feels the exact same way. Paul's working on his second His second short story, it's been in the comment section of the last 2 videos. Not sure if it'll be in this one or if it will be later on down the line, but that right there may very well be his next published work. It's a short story that leads into something much more fleshed out later on down the line. So if you guys are following that, it gives you a taste of what's to come. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. And big ups to Paul and whatnot. Like I said, I like what you do. I love what you do and whatnot. And I think you have a lot of talent. And I think a lot of people are slowly but surely getting a chance to kind of see it themselves and so on and so forth. So, like I said, if you guys want to support Paul and support his literature, the link to the Amazon will be down in the description. You can get the Kindle version or the paperback version, whichever one you prefer. If it turns into a series, then you're going to eventually want to get the paperback because why not have the collection, right? All right, guys, enough of that out of me. Let's go ahead and get started. This is DSP News 2nd edition. I'll see you guys in a few. Oh boy.
A lot of people this day and age tend to still think it's funny. I have my eyes opened a little bit this morning because I ran over to my forums on thekingofhate.com and there was a post from a new poster, and I said, let me take a look at this post. And the post basically said this: usually I'm a person who considers themselves a detractor of Phil. I do not watch his videos. I only watch This Is How You Don't Play, but there have been very few detractor videos recently, so I figured I would actually give Phil a chance, and I decided to watch his pre-stream and the first part of his Firewatch playthrough because I was intrigued by this game. Everyone seems to be talking about this game this week. I checked it out and I was pleasantly surprised. Phil was not making, was not complaining about the game constantly, was not insulting the game devs constantly, wasn't making sex jokes constantly, which seem to be the things that everyone still thinks he does, because when you look at the This Is How You Don't Play videos, that's pretty much what they highlight. The few moments where those things may be happening, they try to make that as if that's the entirety of my game playthroughs, which they're not.
But then, why do you keep doing it then? Like, if you know that's what people are going to isolate, why do you still keep doing it? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with DarkSydeFrancis. Let's see here. DSP tries it. You're an idiot if you think I haven't changed. This is from February 13th of 2016. Oh boy. All right, let's cook.
I started watching it. I got hooked. I'm pleasantly surprised. If this is some of the changes that Phil's making in 2016, this could be a great thing for him. And I read this post, and I'm like, if that doesn't open your eyes to what the outsider of someone who doesn't watch my stuff but only watches these negative videos on YouTube, if that doesn't open your eyes to like their viewpoint, because seriously, I mean, let's face it, from 2008 to 2012, I was popular on YouTube as being a YouTube gamer, right? I was the guy who I would play games on launch day, I would play them from start to finish within 2 to 3 days, and I would have the full playthroughs up relatively quickly. Now, I wasn't good at the games most of the time. In fact, if you remember when I was getting started from, 2008, I had jumped back into gaming after being away from gaming from such a long time because I was off playing competitive Street Fighter, and I really wasn't into console gaming or anything like that. I was just playing Street Fighter for a long-ass time. So I was jumping back into these games, and I was doing terribly. I mean, let's be honest.
And you're still doing terribly, but it's funny because this is someone who said that he's a lifetime gamer. You know what I'm saying? Yet he and devoted... God, I mean, he's been playing Street Fighter for, 20 plus years. You know what I'm saying? Some people want to give him credit and say he's above average. I would say maybe... Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say that's fair. I'd say slightly above average, but whatever. I'm sure I'll give him slightly above average. Fair enough. But even then, even then, when you go back and look at the FGC accomplishments, they're few and far between. So that is what that is. As it pertains to him being bad at games, he's been bad at games since the jump. Since Jump Street, he's been bad at the games. He knows that. So why is it that we're making such a big deal when This Is How You Don't Play emphasizes the very thing that you are and what you do? And remember, this is all supposed to be for fun. He didn't take it seriously. It's not that big of a deal that he's bad at games, but yet he sat there and tried to take out this. He's had This Is How You Don't Play taken down. He says that he took the comment section away, or his comment section away, which killed off This Is How You Don't Play. I'm sure the Outsider, as well as other people, would disagree with that. Big ups to the Outsider. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people who would disagree with that. And yet, oh, well, I've changed. I've grown as a person. I'm a better individual now, but all these people want to do is focus on the negative. But where's the actual positive then? Like in reality, do you think it's fair for someone to have to go through what, half of a playthrough just to be proven that, oh, Phil isn't as bad as people say he is, for example. But then the other half of that playthrough is when the frustration is really getting at him. You know what I'm saying? His own failure is starting to get at him, just saying. And then all of a sudden, he's cursing up a storm. He's shitting on people who are trying to help him in the comment section or on the stream itself. What about those parts? Are they supposed to just magically overlook all of that? Because Phil said, oh, I had a moment of weakness. You had a moment of weakness for what, 30 videos straight? Plus at least 4 or 5 pre-streams on top of that? Just something to think about, though. Keep in mind, that was all hypothetical.
I was flubbing the games, not knowing what I was doing. I was swearing constantly. I was getting super pissed at the games. I was yelling and screaming at the game devs. And, it became a running joke.
There you go. That just kind of proved my point.
Play a game and I would kind of suck at it. A lot of the times I wouldn't even pay attention to the tutorials or whatever early on in the games.
So not only do we suck, but we're willfully putting ourselves into a position not even trying to play the game properly. Oh, I don't give a fuck about that. I just want to get into the game. Because Mr. Valedictorian apparently is so smart that he doesn't need to know how controls work. Then again, when This Is How You Don't Play, at least the Metal Gear Solid ones came out. Oh, what's the button for rations? How do I switch my weapon? It makes one wonder. Maybe those tutorials would have been rather useful there, buddy. Maybe that might have been a thing. But oh well. Sacrifices have to be made, I guess, for quality content.
And then I would suck at them, and I would rage. And that was kind of the hook. A lot of people thought that was something interesting. Here's a guy who...
So it was interesting to watch an ignorant bastard not play the tutorial, not learn the controls, and then get mad less than an hour into the game about how nothing's working, he doesn't know what he's doing, he doesn't understand how to play this game. That's the lore. That's what's supposed to bring people in. And yet, this is a businessman. A successful businessman, by the way. Let's not forget that. Let's not understate that one.
Joe, average gamer, and he's taking a crack at these games of which he's never played these kind of games before. He's sucking at them. It's funny to see him rage, and it's also funny to see him persevere, after being so bad at the game for a long-ass time. Yeah, he insults the game.
Then why are you so mad that This Is How You Don't Play when, theoretically, it's advertising? It's free advertisement. So what is he upset about? If that's supposed to be the lore in the first place. Watching Phil fail, watch him be a miserable bastard, and then watching him, through hoof holding, eventually, overcome. As far as I'm concerned, This Is How You Don't Play encompasses that. Well, maybe not the overcome part. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest. Outside of the flapping, he hasn't overcome anything. So, but what is the malfunction? What is the disconnect? I'm so confused.
Whatever, but that's the running joke. And I became popular, super popular on YouTube for doing that. From 2008 to 2012. Why all of a sudden in 2012, it became a negative thing and people flipped it on its head and said, oh,
how much of an unrealistic motherfucker must you be that you had a 3 to 4 year run, and think it's just going to last forever? Now, keep in mind, this guy right here was living in his own fucking piggy bubble anyway, and wasn't hearing the criticisms, right, and whatnot, or the critiques that people were giving him over those last 3 or 4 years. He completely blocked all that out. And then all of a sudden in 2012, everything blew up in his face. That's not what happened. You saw what you wanted to see. Everything else, if you go back into those old videos, I've gone through a few of them. Oh, if you say something I don't like, you're going to get blocked. If you try to give me advice that I don't want, you're going to get blocked. I'm going to block you 10 ways a Sunday. If you have any type of criticism of me, you're going to get blocked. But all of a sudden in 2012, everybody turned against him. Well, that seems interesting. I guess that would seem kind of sudden if I was living in my own personal fucking hug box and I wasn't paying attention to anything in the outside world that was being told to me. I guess that is a thing. Or at least I wasn't paying attention to anything that didn't fit into my already established narrative of greatness.
Sucks at games. He doesn't deserve any kind of notoriety or attention. Why would anyone watch this guy's stuff when all he does is swear and curse and make sex jokes and blah blah blah? And you know, I don't know.
So you don't have anything to defend yourself with. That's basically what he's doing right now. He's struggling to try to figure out a way to defend himself, and he can't. And why wouldn't he be able to defend himself, ladies and gentlemen, if all of this is taken out of proportion or it's unfair? You know what I'm saying? It's unjust. It's biased. Why would you be like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't get it. It's almost as if, yeah, that's all I do. And people had a valid point. And eventually, me ignoring them or blocking them eventually came back to bite me in the ass. So now it's pig butt for everybody. That's kind of what that is. Let's see if we can get some bacon out of this.
Honest, you know, it's weird because I definitely know that over the years, I've done this on YouTube, I've talked about this many times in the past couple of years, that I've evolved as a person. I've evolved not only as a content creator, but as a person. I've become a lot more mature. I've become a lot more serious.
I've become a lot more mature and a lot more serious. Is taking a bath every other day or like every 2 days, is that considered mature? Especially when you're in an office that's filthy, by the way, and you say that it's really hot in there and you're sweating all the time, but you think it's mature to go a day or two without taking a shower. Mature. Oh, and yet again, we're sitting here yelling and screaming at kids, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, for not supporting your content, not watching your videos, the hundreds of thousands of videos and so on and so forth. And you can't take criticism at all online, but I'm mature. I've evolved. We've gone from self-entitled little pig to now self-entitled stinky little pig. It's almost like a Pokemon evolution if you think about it. Semantics.
I feel that when I do these ongoing streams and gameplay, and I share this with you, that this is not just me. Yes, it is just about me enjoying the game. Of course, if I'm not enjoying the game, you're not going to enjoy what you're watching either. But I want to.
What sense does that make? At the end of the day, the gameplay is either the gameplay is good or it's bad. You thinking that you're going to carry the day, or you are the day, if you will, by you enjoying the gameplay makes no sense at all. Let me give you an example. Stranger Things 3. That was what? End of 2000 or mid 2019, I believe. He loves that game. He loves the fuck out of that game. He pretty much loved every part of it. Everybody else hated that game. For various reasons. But they hated that game. And Phil even bitched a couple of times about how, I don't understand why you guys hate this game so much. I love it. I'm loving this game. Why do you guys have such a problem with it? Why can't you just be happy for me that I'm enjoying this game and just go with it? But I thought he just said a minute ago that if I'm enjoying the game, then you guys are enjoying the playthrough. Dr. Disrespect, fucking, for example, who's leaps and bounds in talent and fucking charisma and everything else over Phil, he shits on Call of Duty, he shits on a lot of first-person shooters all the time. And people love that shit. I love that shit. I love hearing him rage at that shit. Here's the difference. Dr. Disrespect, like I said, has charisma, he has talent, he has all these things, but he's actually good at the games that he plays. He can still critique it, he can still shit on it, but he's actually really, really good at the games he plays. Phil can't say that. Phil cannot say that. You have someone who purposely handicapped himself by not looking at the instructions, not going through the tutorials, not doing any of those things to try to educate himself about the game going into the game, and then failing and getting mad at it and shitting on developers and publishers and all this, that, and the third for his own failures. Because he's an ignorant bastard. Wow.
Give these games a fair shake. There's a lot of games these day and age that I'm trying out that normally in the past I never would have given the time of day. This game that I just played this week, Unravel. Are you kidding me? Do you really think I would have played that kind of game in like, say, 2010? Absolutely not. I would have said, forget that. It's not a big release. It's not a big deal. It's a cutesy little platformer. Screw this piece of shit. And I would have never given it the time of day. And that is such a close-minded, seriously, it's such a close-minded approach, in my opinion, especially now that my horizons have been broadened in the past.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same idiot who said in like 2017, 2018, oh, I'm just now coming to the realization that the world is not black and white, or black or white, that there is some gray. Keep that in mind too. Also, it's the same individual who didn't learn how to actually operate his washing machine until Panda left him. That which would have made him, what, 35? Yikes. Something to think about, though. Broadening his horizons. Hold on to that.
Last few years to so many great indie games and so many great smaller games that I always skipped over and I never paid attention to, right? And then you look at these gems, these diamonds in the rough, like Undertale. My God, what a great game. And I didn't play it in 2015 because I was so busy with the big games, right? So I feel I have matured, you know? And not to say that when I'm playing a game, am I ever...
I've matured because now I go back and play games that I didn't play previously, or games that I shitted on, and now all of a sudden I don't have nothing to do, so now I'm desperate to play anything and everything. That's supposed to be growing up and maturing and broadening our horizons? I don't know, it smells like spam to me, and last time I checked, spam kind of has that scent of desperation. Well, at least if it's Philip Brunel's brand of spam. Yikes.
Never gonna make a sex joke? Of course not. I'm gonna make it when I feel it's either funny or it's appropriate to make that kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
It's appropriate for a mature adult to make sex jokes? Or if it fits this video game that are meant for kids? I smell a hint of deceit. Let's continue, though. Defiant sniff.
You know? And it's okay to actually, you know, every once in a while. Now, if the entire playthrough, dicks, ass, titties, nipples, fuck, shit, dicks, anal, you know, double penetration, okay, you have a point. But I haven't done that. Are you kidding me? You know how long it's been since I've been like that during a game playthrough? Like a million years. I really do feel that I have progressed and grown as a person and a gamer. I'd say probably in 2013 when I started live streaming, when I started direct capture, I started to open up more to viewer feedback and stop being so obstinate and so stubborn and pig-headed about stuff. And I said, no, I have to get feedback from my customer base and I have to improve or else I'm not going to survive. You know, some people right now are actually calling out their favorite kind of more smaller level indie playthroughs or games that I wouldn't have played, like Valiant Hearts. Ocelot in the stream chat says Valiant Hearts is my his fave indie playthrough of mine. Of course, Howell is saying Persona 4. Yeah, these are games I never would have checked that out. You know what I mean? You know, I never would have done that kind of stuff. So I'm happy that I've become different. Now, here's the thing, though, and this is funny. I'm reading this forum post, and I'm like, yeah, because the bottom line is, most people who know me from the this is how you don't play videos or the negative shit that these teenagers, let's be honest, they're young adults who, for whatever reason, are trying to seek some kind of attention for themselves, which is why they do these negative videos. If that's all you watched, you would still think I'm the same. You would still think that
You kind of co-sign to the fact that, you know, you are still the same person. Just because you decide to sprinkle that shit in whenever you feel that's appropriate doesn't change the fact that you still do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you would think you could go ahead and establish or interject a different type of humor to get over. Just throwing that out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Also, yeah, I would assume the majority of the people who watch you are younger than you are. That's a thing. I would also assume, like myself, that the people who do content on you are slightly younger than you. I would assume that's a thing too. Or just outright younger than you. And that just kind of is what that is too. So it must be kind of embarrassing to have people that are younger than you point out your mistakes. When you have all this life experience and you understand how the world works and you understand how the job market works and you understand what it's like to be a full-time YouTuber and a full-time streamer and a content creator for over a decade. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that someone younger than you without nearly as much experience, air quotes, than what you have accumulated, if that even means anything, can go ahead and pick apart everything that you do. Well, maybe not everything. No one can actually get you on everything, but can pick out your discrepancies and do it in such a way where other people are like, well, damn, I never noticed that. But then, or they did notice it and they just stopped watching you. And then they point out, and then they end up pointing out more shit that you've done. And then someone else in the comment section does it. And now it kind of becomes this kind of whirlpool, right? Of free and positive thought. Of free and positive thought, air quotes, so to speak. And the reason why I guess Phil would consider that shit positive is the fact that no one is lording over them. No one's dictating to them, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that. They have the right to say whatever the fuck they want. That's why the comment section's there. Outside of a couple of small criterias, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, you can essentially let it go. People should be able to express themselves. But Phil never allowed that. Has Phil said anything to you yet about freedom of speech or any type of moderation in the chat and whatnot, or in his comment section? Because he needs moderators. Do you hear him saying anything about that yet, though? No. So what good is all this bullshit about your content, which at the end of the day is still garbage, when no one can make a comment about that content? You can't hide that and think you can fall asleep. You can fall asleep comfortably at night, so to speak, if allegedly everything that people say and think about you hinges on what people think and say about you. It seems kind of wild, because the gameplay is garbage, ladies and gentlemen. So that don't mean nothing. That's out of the equation. He's only worried about what people think about him. Hence the reason why people have to be invested in him, which is basically meaning that the gameplay is garbage. It's a back seat to the actual spectacle itself, Phil Burnell. But that's weird, though, because when brain dead idiots like myself, for example, go ahead and present Phil Burnell to you front and center, right, as the spectacle, as the main event, he don't like that. He don't like being called out on his bullshit. He don't like being called out on his lies. He doesn't like being called out for how he treats people. He doesn't like being called out for his moderation, my bad. How he likes to moderate people, sorry. That's what I meant. And whatnot. He doesn't like the fact that people call him out for how he talks about his parents, or he talks about his mods, or he talks about people in his audience, or he talks about the pay piggies, or he talks about his pay piggies. I was going to say whales, but they're few and far between. He doesn't like those things. But that's what he presents to you, though. He wants you to be invested in him, and in turn, anything that he plays or does is automatically going to be good to you because Phil Burnell is going to have a good time with it. Right? But now he's saying he acts like he don't want that, though. I don't understand. I thought I was doing my part. I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt.
Never changed. I've never improved. I've done absolutely nothing. I don't listen to feedback. That's the thing. Phil doesn't listen to feedback. You would have to be a complete misinformed idiot to make that statement in this day and age. I directly listen to feedback and directly improve and change things now based
Really? And you guys want to co-sign to this? Anybody in the audience at all? Anybody? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and raise the wager a little bit. Okay? You get a free cup of Snortbucks. Snortbucks. No, I'll get you guys Starbucks if you guys want. You know what I'm saying? Because I need we have some renovations going on with Snortbucks Coffee at the moment. Free cup of Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? If anybody can point out something, right, that has been pivotal, to his overall growth moving forward over the years. That's gonna be a hard one. That's gonna be a real hard one. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and raise the stakes. Give me a free cup of Starbucks and a free cup of Snortbucks coffee as well. We're going all out for this, baby. Something pivotal that changed his overall content and how he and that helped him change overall as a person to make him better moving forward. Yikes.
Off of feedback, just yesterday I put out a review for Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. And based off of the feedback that I received on my earlier review this year on Fallout 4, I directly changed the review. I made it more abridged and shorter. I had less text covering the screen. I had a much quicker intro that cut out the old Hateful Truth intro because people said, no, that's the old school, go to a totally new format. I changed so many things based off of feedback. And I'm doing this constantly now. Like, all the time, I'm trying to listen and improve. You know, the whole idea this year that I'm doing not just raw gameplay anymore, but I'm doing streaming and raw gameplay on DSP Gaming. I'm doing edited style content on KO Gaming, and I'm doing increased amounts of vlogging, reaction videos, and stuff like that over on the King of Hate vlogs. Like, all of that is a direct result of listening and, you know, improving based off of what people tell me. And so, I mean, I'll be honest here. It's disheartening, it's disappointing, and it's eye-opening when I read a post like the one that I read this morning on the forums basically saying there are thousands of people out there who think that basically I'm a dickhead piece of shit because these kids are still making these stupid, one-sided, completely erroneous, and unfair videos about...
You know, Phil, I'm going to cut you off because I already know what's going to come next, let's be honest. But, like, did you ever think that those same people who watch those negative style videos and so on and so forth that supposedly has made you the ire of the internet and whatnot, the internet's bad guy, if you will, have you ever thought that maybe some of those same people, let's be somewhat generous, not fair, but generous, that some of those people can actually relate to what that content creator or what that content actually speaks to on how Phil talks negatively about people or how he mistreats people? How he over-moderates his chat and his comment section and so on and so forth. Most of those people were probably victims of it at one time or another. Is it fair to say that each and every person Phil banned deserved it? For a critique? Outright trolling is trolling. No one's going to disagree with that. But for someone who's giving a critique, do you really think that's fair? Do you think it's fair for people to get the waifu destroyer Matt treatment when he basically got emasculated in front of all of them and shit? Let's give another example. War Dog Leader. Did War Dog Leader deserve that shit for pointing out something that a lot of people had already felt? And then the way Phil handled it made it even more disgusting, really. It was disgusting to question that dude's circumstance after he had a major loss in his life. Did anybody feel anything about that? Was that wrong? But he's changed so goddamn much, though, right? He's improved so much. He's matured so much. Right? Right? Right. Philip Paul Brunel, the eternal king of suffering.
You know, if you want to make it, you want to talk about my Metal Gear Solid 2 playthrough, that's one thing. That playthrough was from, what, 2012? But to say that things like, I'll be honest, playthroughs like Bloodborne or Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm sorry, and you know, I'm gonna stick up for myself here. I really took the effort to do well in those games. Whether it was in Bloodborne, you know, playing and practicing, and yeah, I did a lot of offline grinding, but in a lot of ways that actually made me a lot better at the game too. And I took my time to explore every little area of the game. I fought all the secret bosses in the game. You know what I mean?
Wait. He made an effort to basically play the video game for the way it was meant to be played. That's basically what he's saying. You guys need to give me some credibility, or give me some credit and some leeway, because, well, you know, I'm paid to play video games, and I actually did what I was actually paid to do. That's literally the pig shit he's trying to peddle to these people right now. Or back then. Whatever, you know what I mean? You guys need to give me credit for doing the job that I'm paid to do. Yikes. that was unexpected.
Like, I really put a lot of time and effort into my Bloodborne playthrough last year. And then Metal Gear Solid 5, are you kidding me? That was a game that I played for a month straight. I did almost all of the optional content besides the repetitive grinding missions. I really, again, made an effort to learn the sneaking, and if you actually watch the playthrough, instead of these one-sided bullshit videos, you would see that 95% of the time, I actually did well. I gave Kojima tons of props, both in the playthrough and in my review of the game.
That's because he was scared to criticize him again, though. Everybody knows that.
And the negative shit that people say, oh, Phil sucked at Metal Gear Solid 5. That is an erroneous statement. It's 100% erroneous. No, I didn't suck. And a lot of people would say, well, it's the easiest game in the franchise. Fair enough. Then why is there a This Is How You Don't Play video? And why are there thousands of kids who think that I'm terrible at that game, when in reality, I was very good at it?
Well, one, This Is How You Don't Play exists because you're obviously bad at the game. Period. That's kind of cements why that exists. The fact that it's considered the easiest game in the franchise, if one is to consider it as such, is yet again another detriment to you. Like, what was that, Persona 3? When you sat there and rage quit the boss on easy? Anybody remember that? Anybody remember that? Pepperidge Farm remembers that. I remember that. So, like, yet again, you're not helping your case. And yet again, the nerve of this scumbag to sit there and say, you guys should give me praise because I actually tried. I actually tried at my job, at my business, at my place of work. I actually tried to do a good job, right? Or I actually not even tried to do a good job. I tried to do my job. You guys should give me a pat on the back for that. That's fucking pathetic. And this is what these kids have chosen to follow all these years. They sat there and give up disability checks, dead wife's insurance money. This is what they decide to give their money to. This is who they decide to give their money to. God damn. Oh, man. Wow. Talk about being cucked to the worst degree possible. Hurtful. Just hurtful.
You know? It's annoying. And it's very frustrating, you know? And for someone like me, you know, this is, you know, for someone like me who this is my business, this is my livelihood, this is something I love doing. I mean, I wouldn't still be doing it, trust me, with all the shit that I've gone through recently, between fucking DDoS attacks and swatting and personal harassment and threats, being doxxed, getting all kinds of fucking copyright strikes and shit against my channels that are completely illegitimate, and then going through contract renegotiations and not even knowing this year if I'm going to keep my business afloat. You really think I would be fucking doing this if I didn't like this? You know? Seriously, you know what I mean?
This music is amazing.
And it sucks that I really have no defense against it. I can't stop people from making those videos. I can't. I have no legal recourse because YouTube does not allow you to take legal recourse unless you sue people. So unless I spend thousands of dollars...
So wouldn't that be legal recourse? Oh, it has to be on somebody else's dime, though. Or it has to be pro bono work that a lawyer has to be willing to do. Oh, I see. I got you. No problem.
For a lawsuit, for every video that I want to try to get taken off of YouTube, it will never happen. And sorry, I'm not filthy rich. And, you know, I don't have the power to do it. And it sucks because a lot of people say, well, you know, these other big YouTubers, there's people who do it too, but they roll with the punches. It's like, yeah, because they're big YouTubers. When you have hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of views on every video, when you have millions of subs, it doesn't matter if a few people make negative videos about you. The difference was I was at a point in my career, say around 2011, 2012, right? When I was very different from where YouTube was going, and I was one of the few people kind of holding out with these long-form Let's Plays.
Which means he did it to himself. Which means he let the status quo literally fall between his hooves, and he fucked himself. Remember, or you just heard it, I was one of those people, as YouTube was going a certain direction, they were starting to swerve a little bit, or they were going to go ahead and they saw the fork in the road, and they decided to go one way. He decided to continue to hold out, in air quotes, and do things the way he wanted to do it. And then he got mad because he started to fail. But that's funny because current pig lore says that it's the detractor's fault that his business went ahead and failed. But he's sitting here telling you right here that He chose to do things his own way. And when you choose to do things your own way, which, it is what it is, you have to deal with the consequences. And those consequences are more likely going to have detriments. And those are things you're going to have to deal with. Survive, adapt, and overcome. He never, if you want to say that he survived, that's only off the good graces of others. He never adapted. And if he did it poorly and lazily. And so that didn't help him. And he hasn't overcome a goddamn thing. Yikes.
And because of I was such a different style from what other people were doing and being successful, I was an easy target. And keep in mind, I was kind of alone on YouTube. I wasn't in a group where I had the support of other YouTubers or anything like that. I was completely alone. And
now he was completely alone by design. If you guys have gone back to my Machinima video, he sat there and told us, oh, while I was with Machinima, I thought, they would have me, collaborate with other people. I thought they would set that up, and they never did. They never supported me. They never reached out. Machinima never reached out to me and be like, hey, excuse me, we have another content creator out there. Would you like to collaborate with them? He literally thought that they were supposed to coordinate the collaborations with him and other people on Machinima, or just other content creators in general. He really thought they were supposed to set that up, not him reaching out to them to do it. They were supposed to set that up. So this whole bullshit about, oh, I've been alone, I don't have YouTube friends, I don't have, connections with other YouTubers or other bigger YouTubers or so on and so forth, that's your own fault. That doesn't have anything to do with anybody else but you. And it was funny because when he initially started doing his YouTube thing, hey, I'm out here, I'm going to work hard. Remember when he got fired? I've done that video before. When he got fired, he was like, hey guys, for all you guys out there that are doing YouTube videos and doing all your little quirky bullshit or whatever, that shit's about to get swept up and out, because now you have someone who has the talent, who's motivated, and I'm trying to get you guys up and out of that spot. Now all of a sudden he's saying that he wanted help. But that's weird, because when he was, air quotes, on top and he was doing so well and everybody loved his content, he used to shit on all of his peers. He acted like he didn't need them and he was above all of them. Now all of a sudden, though, when he's down in the dumps, all of a sudden I wish other content creators would reach out to me. I wish they would help me. I wish I could do collaboration with other people like a lot of those guys do. But never thought about doing it himself, though. Never thought about reaching out and asking someone for help, because that was weakness. That would be weak of him to do that. Machinima, the pimp, has to do that. Not Phil. The pimp has to go ahead and reach out to the other hoes, in air quotes, to go ahead and have them collaborate. Wow.
You see other people who kind of have watched my style of content, and they themselves have mixed it up or evolved or changed it, and they've become successful on YouTube, and that's a great thing. But I became kind of the brunt of, oh, this guy's just playing games on YouTube and doesn't deserve success. And it sucks because
You don't. And you explained, and you kind of justified why you shouldn't. You just said that people have taken your format, went with it, evolved it, you know what I'm saying? Or remixed it and turned it into something completely different, and they're now having all this success. He sees them growing in popularity and all that. But you're the one who sat there and chose to become stagnant. He's actually admitting it right now. He's admitting that he became stagnant. For the second time in this video, he's admitted to staying stagnant while other people took his format. It wasn't even his format, by the way, but whatever. Took that same format and went ahead, evolved it, and moved on and did greater things. So he saw the proof in the pudding. He saw how they did it, and he saw the results of what they did, and he chose not to do it because he's still doing it his way. He's upset that people clown him over that people laugh at him because of that, because he used to be popular doing it. Yeah, I assume was 2016. Yeah, 6 fucking years ago, 7 goddamn years ago, not now. So he literally expected YouTube to just stay outdated. And the practices and the people on it should be outdated too. And this is something I've told you guys, he's literally mad, or he's always been mad, at the fact that there was competition. Because that competition wasn't lazy. They weren't ass clowns. They were people who wanted to push the boundary and wanted to see the community grow with them. He didn't have to be part of the community to do what needs to be done to grow. He chose not to. He fucked himself. And yet he's mad that people laugh at him because of it. You're a fucking dinosaur. That's why we have museums, like the Museum of Unnatural Art. The Goutopia Museum of Unnatural Art. That's why we have a museum. For people to go ahead and look at those who did not evolve because either A, they couldn't, or because they chose not to. Or maybe nature didn't allow them to, or nature found them fit to be extinct. Same concept. And this goes back to what I've said before. He's had all the opportunities in the world to change the content and to expand his horizons and to tap into new markets. He didn't want to do it until it was already too late, until his baby backs were already on the grill. By then it's too late, bitch. You done. You cooked. Now it's time to serve you up. And this is how you don't play. That's what detractor content is. People serving it up. It's already too late to cry about it at that point. But even then, you could just put some effort into this shit, but you won't. Because you feel that you're above it. Because you're still living off success from 7 goddamn years ago. And at this point, remember, this is 2016. You're living off shit from 7 years ago. How pathetic is that? And then you think that you don't deserve to be the blunt of other people's jokes? You think that you shouldn't be the poster boy of what happens when you're a lazy, ignorant fuck and you're not willing to do what you need to do to save your air quotes business? You should be laughed at. You should be ridiculed. And then eventually, you're going to be forgotten. And that's the thing that hurts Phil the most. Why do you think he clinches onto detractor content as much as he does? He hates that shit in 2016, but he's all over it in 2020. He can't live a day without it. You telling me I want somebody to go ahead and not even try, but I would like someone to go ahead and compose the argument. You really think Phil on his day off isn't looking at detractor content? This, and proof positive, this idiot on his wedding night, instead of going ahead and putting the skins the cat, he's sitting there on Instagram and on detractor Twitter seeing what we have to say about him. He up there seeing what's good with Tevin that night. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. Instead of enjoying all jokes aside, instead of enjoying his wedding night, he's keeping up with detractor Twitter, with his Instagram, and Kiwi Farms. That's what he did on his wedding night. So who's living free inside of whose head at that point? Just throwing it out there.
No, nothing to really do it again to protect myself. You know what I mean? Really, I'm not really sure what I could do. But when I read this forum post, and I was like almost touched. I was like, damn, there's people out there who really would enjoy my stuff if they would just give it a shot and not believe these really nasty, negative things that are still to this day being said about me, even though they're completely untrue at this point. You know, like, it would be one thing if back in 2012...
Now, keep in mind, a couple of things. One, when does personal responsibility become a factor in this equation? If you know what to do better, then why aren't you doing it? First point. Second point, he only came to your content because the content that he had been enjoying was no longer there. Or at least not enough of it was there. That's the only reason why he turned to you, according to your supposedly real-life story, with this real-life person that exists that really left you this message. So that's the next thing. That's point 2. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and take it all in, right? Because this is a thing. And then 3, and most importantly, for the very people who decide to consume that content, that detractor, troll, hater, critic content, it's funny how you're not trying to put the blame on them, right? Or you're not going to try to hold them accountable. And even not that he could, because most of those people he turned away. He kicked them out. He exiled them. At the end of the day, Phil, they have the choice to whether watch this type of content or watch your content. Period. There is no sign above the fucking gates and shit. Like, if we're running a gulag or shit over here saying that, hey, once you watch detractor content, you can never stop watching detractor content. That does not exist. Or at least it hasn't existed during my run. So that's a thing. People who choose to watch it is because they choose to watch it. There's no gun pointed at them over that. There is no, hey guys, if you don't go ahead and support the Q Pup and the Sharp Suit Fund, the content's going to go away. There's none of that. There is no, if you don't support Almighty A Gang, he's going to stop streaming. There isn't no, if you don't support the, well, let's be honest, Rocky's the real star over there with Rocky and LSP. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Big ups to both of them. But there is no, you know what I'm saying, support the Rocky Fund over there on LSP stream or anybody else. You know what I'm saying? All jokes aside. Or anybody else. There's none of that. Phil is the one who puts everything essentially behind a paywall. I won't do this unless you guys give me X amount. Or unless we reach such and such goal, which costs you money. He's the one who's done that. He's the one who's chosen to do that. He's the one who's chosen not to evolve with the times. Because he wants to be some unique fucking snowflake. And he thinks that he should be given participation points for that shit. This ain't Evo 2005, dude. You didn't even get a medal. I think they gave him a ribbon or some shit. He didn't even get a medal. Because he's not third, so he don't even get bronze. This whole participation bullshit that keeps going around him, and apparently has always been around him, is one of the reasons why he's at where he's at. No one has to acknowledge you because you breathe. Either you're going to do good things or you're going to do great things, if I should say. You're either going to do great things or you're not. End of story. No one owes nobody nothing. Nothing. So either you're going to set out to be great or you're just going to, or you keep doing what you're doing and stay quiet. One of the two. One of the two. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about that. There is no getting around that. Yikes. And he wants to talk about society.
Every playthrough that I did was just me stomping my feet and screaming and complaining and swearing at game devs and sucking at the game. That's certainly not what it is anymore, right? And but that's not what you would be led to believe by this shit. So, anyway, I digress. It is what it is. I'm gonna keep pushing forward positively. As you know, at least I know that I've improved, and those of you who are here every single day know that I've improved, and I'm not that person that I used to be. And I'm happy to know. I'm happy to know that at least every once in a while there's someone who's willing to give me the time of day and check out my stuff and say, "Oh wow, Phil really isn't the negative douchebag that a lot of people say that he was or is or used to be or whatever." And if more people were like that, and if more people would actually give me the time of day rather than just listen to the sheepish group mentality of, this is how you don't play, I think honestly I would probably be a top gaming YouTuber. But
no, you wouldn't. So, a couple things that we need to kind of address, because this is hilarious. This is all kinds of special. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're great, or if you're doing great things or whatnot, right? One person coming along and saying that you're great doesn't reaffirm that, nor does that elevate you to another level. If you believe that what you do is good or great or whatever, then that's it. It's because it starts with you, because you're the core, right? You're the core. Now, I have said before, and I'll say it again, that this is an individual who has said on multiple occasions that his life had no meaning before YouTube. He went into the FGC, people didn't acknowledge him and acknowledge his greatness, and people called him a failure because he was a failure. So he went on to YouTube. But before even the FGC, he was in the workforce. No one recognized his talents. No one recognized his hard work. Maybe they made him feel like he was the smallest person on earth, and they made it feel like he had no value. That's why he ran to the FGC. From the FGC, he ran to YouTube. From YouTube, he ran to Twitch. He has to go to all these different platforms, and he has to go and look at other people to reaffirm who and what he is. He's not even strong enough of character to do that on his own. He needs other people to acknowledge his greatness and by proxy acknowledge his existence so he can keep moving forward. If that's not pathetic, I don't know what is. So then you bitching and complaining about this is how you don't play makes it even more pathetic. Actually, it makes it almost as pathetic, if not more pathetic, than that fourth place finish at Evo of 2005. It's literally right there. It might even eclipse it, but it's certainly right there. That you need other people to justify your existence. Where you have to sit here in a video and say, oh, I'm actually trying at the games, the games that I play for a living, right? I'm actually been trying at these 2 games that I can name out of supposedly the tons of games that he's supposedly been doing good at. I've been trying really, really hard at these 2 games. You guys should be acknowledging me for that. You should be acknowledging my hard work. You guys should be acknowledging my devotion to something that he's going to do anyway because he has nothing else that he can do for a living. I want you to think about that. This is what he's come down to. And this is what I was saying earlier on about the whole thing with, no, I've said it in another video, about money isn't the end game. Okay? The money, it's his ego. It's his self-worth is more important than anything. If he won the lottery, he still wouldn't leave the internet because he needs people to praise him. He needs people to think that he's better than other people to get one hoof in front of the other. Money's just a means to an end. He is so much more invested in this shit, right? Like a lot of lol cows. They're so invested in this shit emotionally that the financial stuff is outweighed. It's a means to an end. That's why Amberlynn and Chantel can't stop doing mukbangs or mukbangs, however you want to pronounce it. You know what I mean? They need that because they need the negativity that's going to come from it. They know it. That's where the views are. And it's not just the negativity from the comment section. It's the people who fucking get off on watching that shit. Or people who get off on the fact of watching a heavy person slowly but surely kill themselves through eating. There's a fetish for all that shit. And both of them know that they have an audience for that. That's why when they do a regular vlog or whatever about some boring, mundane bullshit, no one gives a fuck. They put a mukbang out there, or a mukbang, whatever, that shit skyrockets. That's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reality. These, at least a small part of this whole lol cow shit, and it's not just DSP, it's others lol cows as well, it's the emotional aspect of it. It's constantly feeding this bottomless pit of an ego and of this lack of self-esteem that they have is why a lot of them are where they're at. It's amazing. Pathetic, sad certainly, but it's amazing to watch. It's amazing how the people, let me give you another example. Amberlynn during her Christmas during Christmas time of last year, 2019, she put out her Vlogmas. She was doing her Vlogmas series, and didn't even complete it, by the way. But you know, she's a quitter too. Anyway, she was doing her Vlogmas thing, and all there was positivity on those videos. The likes were up, right? Positive comments, but the views weren't there. Instead of getting the 100,000 plus views that you get on those negative videos, we're getting 30,000, 40,000, maybe 50,000 on some of those videos. So we're getting all the positivity she wants. Some really nice positivity in the comment section. The likes and dislikes are looking real good. And she's still catching some decent, she's catching, you know, below average views for her. Because the negativity is gone. And she basically focused on that early on. Early on, she realized this positivity shit ain't working because that's not paying bills. And that's really what it comes down to. That positivity thing that they're always preaching about, that they want, that shit don't pay bills. It's the negativity that pays the bills. Because that's what brings people out to watch. It brings people out to rewatch. It brings people out to analyze that shit, to make fun of it, to ridicule it. All that shit's money in the bank. But also, more importantly than that, that negativity is that constant, it's that constant, what's the word I'm looking for? It's that constant reinforcement, positive or negative, that they thrive on. That's what the real kicker is of all that. So they sit there and preach to you all day. I wish you guys would be more positive. I don't know why these people keep harassing me, so on and so forth. But then when everything goes positive, that shit ain't paying bills. So financially, it ain't working. And then emotionally, it ain't doing anything for you either. Because a lot of people live off that hatred. Like Amber will sit there and flaunt her shit for everything it's worth when the negativity's up there. When it's all positive, she looks almost melancholy. She looks depressed as hell. But when it's negative, though, she's all live and bubbly. And that's the reality of people like this. Phil's no different. That's the reality. He can't escape that. And that's why Phil keeps preaching this bullshit about if there's more people that are positive, I'd be the biggest gamer out there. Nah, you wouldn't. Nah, you wouldn't. Because people know what to expect out of you. And no one has to deal with a shit product, whether they're paying for it or not. And that's the whole point of having a comment section. That's the whole point of having a likes and dislikes. You can rate it. If you don't want to write a comment, you can rate that content for ill or nil, and you try to take that away from multiple people. And because of that, you've only added to the machine that has not only that you built and that you powered, but eventually that overtook you. You went from being the inventor of that machine, right? Because he basically started all this negativity bullshit, to now being consumed by that machine. Now the machine can choose to run independently from you if it chooses to. But it's actually slowly but surely consuming you. And now you need it. Every time that he tried to cut himself away from it, he couldn't. Because the views aren't there. His ego isn't being stroked. That emptiness in this small, pathetic little person isn't being filled. Now he's part of his own machine. He's just another cog. He's not running it anymore. The machine is completely self-sufficient. And it's literally using him now to squeeze bacon grease to keep itself oiled, if you will. And it doesn't have to do that, but since he's there and he's cheap, it just chooses to do so. And that's what the reality is. He's not bigger than the detractor community. He's not bigger than the trolls, haters, and critics. He's not even bigger, nor is his audience, even bigger than the people who just stand on the sidelines to watch the trash fire. He's not any of those things anymore. His voice gets drowned out unless people spotlight it. Other than that, he's not heard. Unless he's fucking up in a video game, he's not seen. That's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. DSP News.
The problem is I kind of became the viral mentality, the viral movement to make fun of me rather than actually give me a chance is absolutely insanely ridiculous. You know, hundreds of thousands of views that go on these negative one-sided bullshit videos that are completely fucking untrue. Anyone could take anything that someone does and only highlight the fails and the rage and the moments of weakness and say that that's who they are all the time, and it's wrong and it's unfair and it's bullshit. You know, and a celebrity can sue a fucking tabloid and make them retract a story or whatever. I have no recourse. And I'm certainly not a celebrity.
Going back to his ego, a celebrity. You think you're on the levels of a celebrity, Phil?
To begin with, so. Alright, anyway. Let's get, we're gonna get started here with the conclusion of Firewatch. I really don't have too much else to say on the pre-stream today. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit.
During this fight, I've seen a lot of changing.
В течение всего этого боя я понял, что многое изменилось.
The way you felt about me and the way I felt about you.
И я почувствовал, что вы тоже изменились.
In here, there were two guys killing each other. But I guess that's better than 20 million.
Я думаю, что это лучше, чем даже 20 миллионов долларов.
So what I was trying to say is that if I can change,
Я думаю, что каждый тоже изменился
and
сегодня.
you can change,
Вы можете измениться.
everybody can change.
Каждый может измениться.
Yes, Vidal, get the fuck up, bitch. Clap, motherfucker. First things first. Great. This is a nice little scene that DarkSydeFrancis put at the end of this. I have nothing against it. It's well done, well placed. Here's the reality. The reality is that for ill or nil, and there are plenty of problems in the detractor community over a lot of petty shit. Oh, it always has been, there always will be. But in the detractor community, right, things can change. Things have changed, but things certainly can change. Over there in the pig pen, change is kind of like communist Russia. It's real slow. It's real slow. And just like how, though the people down in the pits, right, people on the front lines were the first ones to clap, everybody up there in that upper echelon, right? Let's say that's the piggy Gestapo. That change comes real slow, and and there's a lot of resistance in doing it, as you saw here. Homie had to look to the side and be like, "Bitch, what you waiting for? Holy, better get up on your feet and go ahead and start clapping." He didn't get up willingly. He damn near had to be told to do so, which is no different than Phil and most of his mods. Am I saying that every mod that Phil has over there is a bad person? No, probably not. Probably misguided as fuck, but not bad people. But it's sad, though, that they have to be burned themselves to finally move and decide to actually do something. Unless they decide to be like Swaggins and decide to crawl back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they aren't individuals. They're all just an amalgamation of a group of people who are too scared to go off on their own or think for themselves. So they have to think together, because that's what brings them camaraderie, that gives them a connection with somebody else that they really don't know, but people who they feel like they can connect with. When in actuality, very much like Russia, them, at least in the upper echelons anyway, they'll stab each other in the back the first chance they get, at times anyway. Well, the Russian government is not exactly the most stable shit, but you know what I mean, historically speaking. This is no different. The concept of change is not a hard thing to make. The thing is are people wanting to let go of their ideas to make those changes? And the uncertainty of those changes, how will you be perceived? Phil doesn't want to be perceived as being weak. So Phil is never going to sit there and actually give, this is how you don't play a fair shot. Even to this goddamn day, he still thinks that it's ruined everything that he ever had. And he takes, in a very pathetic sort of way, he takes pride in the fact that he killed off This Is How You Don't Play by removing the comment section off from his videos. Like, that was the linchpin of This Is How You Don't Play. Even if they didn't have, even if they didn't have any comment section, the gameplay speaks for itself. But he doesn't want to think about that. He doesn't want to acknowledge that. Well, even though he kind of did when he said that, you know, you're going to just point out all my failures, my moments of weakness, you know what I'm saying, my missteps. Stop misstepping. Stop being weak. And actually try all the time. Not just on the games that you want to that you really, really like. What the fuck are you doing playing a game that you don't like? Oh, because you need the views. Because that's how you pay bills. So then this isn't a hobby then. This isn't a dream job. This isn't something you're passionate about. You're doing it because you can't do nothing else. And that's what Phil really don't want to accept. And whenever someone says that, he hates it. And he's always been that way. And he'll always be that way. So like I said, the thing at the end here, this is from, this is Rocky 4, yeah? It's a good peel. No, yeah, this is Rocky 4, ain't it? Hold on a second. Pretty sure this is Rocky 4. But like I said, I think it's fitting, but it would never apply to Phil. It couldn't. Yeah, this is Rocky 4. It would never apply to Phil. He's just not. You gotta be a man, and you gotta be able to accept stuff. And Phil can't do it. And being that Phil is weak himself, his audience is weak. His fan base is weak. They don't have to like the fact that it's being said. It's true. It's true. And in Phil's case, Phil is okay with having weak people around him because, in his eyes, they're weaker than him. So he can control them. That vest streak, if that right there doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does. And it's not even in the crazy thing about the vest streak, is it's not him thinking that he's controlling them, but in actuality, it's them controlling him. With the one thing that he's so desperate for right now that he can't give up, money, which really is WWE champions. Feeding an addiction that doesn't mean a goddamn thing. If my lore is currently correct, he got dropped from his main guild, tried to go to another guild. They confronted him on who he really was. He got dropped from that, or he didn't even get dropped. They weren't going to take him. I guess he may have tried to join a third guild, or he went ahead and made his own. So either A, he tried to join a third guild, they said hell no, and because apparently word's getting around fast about who Darksydephil is amongst or they call me DSP on the whole WWE champion. So now he has his own guild by himself, invite only. One of the biggest whales, or at least one of the top 20 whales in the game, now has to start his own guild. He's all on his own. And why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Because he can't give up all the time that he put into it. Let me explain briefly. WWE champions and that guild uselessness gave him all the acknowledgement that he could have ever asked for. It's him throwing a shitload of money and a bunch of people praising him for it, and or a bunch of people benefiting from the money that he spends, and in turn they find him to be useful. See the play on that? So the clan's called uselessness, but he's actually useful because of the amount of money he puts into it, as the other whales I'm sure do. It was the one place that he could go to and talk, and his voice really matters, because they don't really know who he is, right? We found that out in the leaks. They don't know who he really is, but as they said, he's a good player with open pockets, or with an open wallet, or whatever the term that they used. That right there was his foray in. That was his reputation, and from that he got the acknowledgement that he's not getting on YouTube, he's not getting on Twitch, he's not getting on his forums, he's not getting on Twitter, and he's not getting from his wife and his son Jasper, or stepson Jasper. That was the one place he could go. And when you have something like that, and you're a pathetic individual like Phil and whatnot, you'll pay all the money that you can to keep that. You'll fight for it like a rabid dog to keep that. And that's what he did. And now he doesn't even have that anymore. And that goes back to what I've told you guys before. Everything he touches turns to shit. Everything. If that bankruptcy thing wasn't a thing, who knows if we would ever find out about that WWE Champions thing. That could have been his dirty ass little secret. But since he's demanding more and more money on not only this vest streak, but to help him with taxes for all these years and so on and so forth, $40,000 to $50,000 is now magically missing. And now it's being sunk into this championship game. And now, even the few guilds that look like they would pick him up don't want to, because the reputation has gotten around that, he has a lot of drama around him and it's not worth it. Despite the fact that he's a top 20 high roller and he's like a top 100 player in the world. He might even be a top 10 high roller, to be honest, but no one wants to touch him. So now he's all alone. He spent all that money on uselessness and whatnot. As a guild, he had all those perks. You know what I'm saying? He had all the prominence. He got all the recognition and acknowledgement. And now he doesn't got a goddamn thing. He can't even escape his own name. He can't even escape his own name. And this is what I told you about. Whether you have one YouTube video out that you made, or you've got 100 or 1,000 or whatever, your name is a brand. And Phil didn't protect his brand. He just decided to shit on the people and try to dispose of the people, air quotes, that tried to peed on his brand. And turns out he is the one that got peed on. He's the one in the back alley that got the fuck beat out of him and got pissed on and is now just sitting there. That's the reality. That's what happened. That is what's happening. Now he doesn't even have an outlet anymore. And he can't even leave WWE Champions anymore because he got nowhere to go. So now, at least according to what Twitter is showing and Kiwi Farms, he's having to rack up even more money so he can make his group, his new guild, which is only just him, more enticing to bring other people in. Because he doesn't want to lose the rank that he spent all that money on. You see how it's just a vicious, endless cycle with him? And he can't escape it. But this is what he chose for himself. You reap what you sow. He made his bed. He made his pig pen. Now he's got to lay in it. And it's really hard to lay in that thing alone. And there's a metaphor there. There's a double entendre there. Yeah, someone will get it. But he's in that bed all alone now. And that's not the only place.
A lot of people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy. All right, so give me a second to kind of finish up here, and we'll reconvene for final thoughts. felt like that was a rather eye-opening situation into Phil's psychopathy in some ways, and what is really hinging on this. This isn't something that hasn't been told to you guys before, not by me, not by many and other people, but not everybody wants to delve into it that deep. You know what I'm saying? People still want to try to humanize Phil, and to do so, you have to kind of still keep him propped up. No one has to do that, and I'm certainly not willing to do it, to be honest. I cut him as deep as I do because he needs to be cut that way and whatnot. This is what he wants. You're going to name yourself the king of hate, then you take everything that comes with it. You know what I mean? And if all of us detractors are usurpers, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth, fair enough, then you put Conqueror in front of my name. You know what I'm saying? Definitely do that. Or definitely call me Slayer. Well, actually, I'd rather be called a usurper, but call me definitely Slayer. I'll definitely do that shit at the end of the day. So that's what I'm doing. I'm usurping the old stuff one video at a time, I guess. Alright, so thank you very much to DarkSydeFrancis. Big ups on that. The link to this video will be down in the description without my annoying voice, so you can go ahead and check it out, support the channel. Or support the video at least. I don't know if he makes content anymore. So, general thoughts. Okay, so he's changed, and you are an idiot if you don't think so. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't see too much growth there. I don't see too much change at all, to be honest with you. That right there kind of mirrors the patheticness of 2005. Or sorry, not 2005, of 2020, currently. I don't see too much change in anything. I think he was trying to play the sympathy card early. It didn't work then. It doesn't really work now. Even with all the money that he obtains, I've kind of already broken down where that money goes. So what's the point of that? To be honest. And like I said, now he has nothing. He ain't sat there and worked his way up the rung of WWE champions for years. And now he's right back at the goddamn bottom. No acknowledgement, no praise, and small side note, the rewards or any residuals that was supposed to come from, I guess, whatever the quarter was for the guild he was in, he doesn't even get that now. He doesn't get any of that. They can't just transfer it over to him. He has to be released or he got kicked out of that guild. But then the person who had said that, like, hey, he's not going to get any of his residuals or anything, but the guy even said, or whoever it was, said it doesn't even matter because he'll probably just buy it anyway. So these people already have him psychologically figured out. They already have him figured out. If Phil can't pull it, or if it's not rewarded to him, he's just going to go out and buy it anyway. So they've been playing him the whole time. That right there was one of the smoking guns, which will, whenever I get around to doing the WWE Champions video, because I do want to do that, then, you know what I'm saying, I'll flush it out more there. So he's being played at every angle, at every corner, and he knows it, but it's the only way that he can get the acknowledgement. It's the only way to feed the beast with inside this pathetic small little person. He can sit there and talk shit to you all day, but he's not going to go onto a larger platform and do it. He'll go ahead and go on these other little rinky-dink little places, or these little places and shit where people will go ahead and only give his side of the story and whatnot with small snowball type shit and nothing else. Everybody who has some real influence or has a real voice, he ain't gonna fucking do anything with them. So then what's the point? And that's what the reality is. At the end of the day, Phil is merely trying to hold on to what little he has. He can't see past that no more. He's given up. And I've told you this. He's given up. Now, all he's trying to do is consolidate and hold on to what little he has. And he'll lose that house in Washington to do it. Trust me. He will lose that house in Washington if he has to. Because it's the last bit of his pride that he has left. He doesn't have too much else of anything. Because it's slowly but surely starting to sink in that, you know what, I fucked up. I fucked up bad. And even with all the amendments or whatnot, I haven't actually watched the stream yet with Agent Proper, LSB, and Nick Rekieta yet. Oh, and the mod for Nick Rekieta. Sorry about that. Can't think of his name at the moment. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. But I'm sure that most of that thought isn't going to be too different from what I'm thinking as it pertains to Phil's financial situation. At the end of the day, he's even if he isn't completely and totally proper fucked, or even if he does somehow come out of this, he's been cut so deep that he can't even stop that bleeding. Anyway, that's just my way of doing it. That's my way of thought. As it pertains to, like I said, if you think he hasn't changed, I mean, go ahead. I'd like to hear someone try to explain that to me. How he's truly changed for the better. And then someone go ahead and point out how good everything is. Also, I'd like someone to refute his past mistakes, and which only falls into line on why he's at where he's at now. And where he'll be in the future. Like I said, he's a born failure. He's a born failure. There are very few people I've seen in life, right, that I've never met anybody with Phil's mentality. Ever. And I've met some, trust me, I've met and I know some negative pieces of shit. But not like this. Not like this. Not people who are willing to amputate their whole goddamn leg and have the nerve to say that they did nothing wrong, they did everything correct, and then say, please prop me up and take me to the hospital, and have them reattach my leg. Also, can you cover this bill for me? Also, hey, I still get like disability for this, right? And then proceed to cut their leg off again in like another year. I've never met anybody who does that. And obviously that's a gross over-exaggeration, but you know what I mean. He's rare. He may even be unique in that malfunction, in that mental dysfunction in some ways. But what are you going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. I'll catch you guys for the next one, whenever that may be. This is DSP News 2nd edition. Take care of yourselves, guys. Later.